Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Here we are trying to stay connected in these crazy times, and yoga has a lot of life skills and practices that could help us stay grounded and better resourced. So we're going to start, and Ben and Diane are here, and we're doing this project together. So I'm very grateful to you. And we're just going to start with a simple grounding, and you could sit however you're comfortable and either have your eyes closed or you could have a soft gaze towards the floor. Just take a moment to check in. And see if you could check in through a lens of loving care, like a sincerity, like you would check in with a loved one. Gently allow your exhales to run their course. You don't have to force it. Just let your exhales go all the way to the end. Receive your inhales naturally. We know the exhales support the calming response in our nervous system. See if your exhales could help you feel more grounded, like physically grounded on the floor. With each exhale, could your seat feel like it gets just the slightest bit heavier? See if your exhales might also invite a bit of a softening to the edges. Could your shoulders melt away from your ears a little bit? Relax your jaw, your eyebrows. Even the roof, the palate of your mouth might be able to slightly soften. You could join your hands at your heart if you like. And set an intention. And I think of this as, what do you intentionally want to practice? And it might be a feeling of steadfastness or confidence. Maybe it's patience. What would feel supportive or soothing right now? Bow your head to your heart, your intention. Release your hands. And take your time to lie down on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. You could have your 2 yoga blocks nearby. If you're at home, you don't need yoga blocks. If you have something like this, that's great. Sometimes I use weights in one of the exercises we're about to do. If you don't have weights, I've been using cans of soup at home. We have lots of those at home right now. So now that you're lying down in constructive rest, just again feel grounding. Our nervous system, our brain really likes to know where our body is held in space, and your brain's already scanning that on your behalf. But by bringing your attention to where you're making contact with the floor, the ground beneath you, is a bit of reassurance for the nervous system. Take your first yoga block number 1, and this is for in between your knees. It's optional. Okay? The yoga block between the knees, it just gives a little more muscular feedback. You might get a little more core support, and you could give that block a bit of a squeeze. I refer to the top front of your pelvic bowl, these bony landmarks of your hips here, as your hip crest bone. So as you squeeze the block, draw your hip crest bones just slightly towards your belly. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. Interlace your hands back behind your head. And you could hover your head about an inch or so above the floor. With your next exhale, draw your front lower ribs down towards your spine, down towards the floor, to lift your head and shoulders up into a little sit-up. And inhale, you could lower down thoughtfully. Exhale, draw your front lower ribs, your hip crest bones towards each other. Inhale, lower down thoughtfully. So it's like a seesaw, and it's a play of awareness. Where you put your awareness in your body tends to make a difference. What does it feel like if you could initiate this movement by the action to draw your front lower ribs down towards your spine, down towards the floor, And your head, your shoulders could lift by association rather than leading with our chin or our nose, as we often do as upright facing humans. And the hope is that as you bring your awareness to that movement, you might access deeper core. But you're also practicing to bring your awareness in your body in the present moment. You could rest at any time, or the next time you come up to your yoga sit-up, hold your yoga sit-up for a bit of a challenge. Exhales will help you to inhale. It's amazing our diaphragm works when our core is engaged. And when you're ready to lower down, see if you could keep that awareness. Could you keep your front lower ribs slightly knit in as you unfurrow your upper spine back down to the floor? Really nice job. That's great. And then have a rest. Just feel the echo of that movement. How your body breathes, sensation. Okay, so the next one is going to use yoga block number 2. So yoga block number 1 in between the knees. Yoga block number 2 in between your hands like this, and you could extend your arms straight up towards the ceiling in front of you. Now this could be done holding a yoga strap or a belt, pulling your hands away from each other. You could be holding a block. You could be holding cans of soup. So you have lots of options. Okay, you could offer that's great, yep. So here, without having your ribs knit in, just feel natural movement a few times here. Inhale, take your arms back overhead, back behind you, straight arms. Your hands may or may not reach the floor. The goal is not to reach the floor. Exhale, bring your arms straight back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach your arms back. Exhale up. And just feel in your body, through your torso, where is movement occurring to help bring your arms back overhead. Just feel natural movement without influencing it too much. Notice where your spine might move. Does your pelvic bowl tip forward? Does your rib cage pop up? None of that is wrong. Your body is brilliant and it looks for the path of least resistance. See where that is. Yeah, that's great. And then the next time you bring your arms up overhead towards the ceiling, stay there. Draw your front lower ribs, hip crest bones a little bit towards each other as you squeeze the block between your knees. Now, can you keep a quality of steadfastness through your midline without letting your rib cage pop up or your low back arch a lot? As you inhale, bring your straight arms back overhead, back behind you. And exhale your arms back up towards the ceiling. And see, you might not go as far, maybe you do. But to keep that integration through your midline, again, you're using your awareness in your body. And you might find that there's a relationship between core steadfastness and bringing some more mobility into your upper spine here in between your shoulder blades. I like to teach in progression, so you could start here. If you want to add a bit more challenge, hug the block between your knees, lift your knees right up over your hips. That's an option. You just added a little bit more load for your core. Could you keep that quality of steadfastness as you continue that movement with your arms? And you could stay here. Now the goal isn't to go super far. It doesn't make it more advanced yoga to add more, but where are you sustainable? So you could try, as you bring your arms back overhead, to bring your legs a little bit forward, like bring your toes a little bit towards me at the front of your mat as your arms go back. That's an option. Just ways to add more challenge. Does not make it more advanced per se. Really nice. Great choices. You have all those choices at home. When you're done, have a rest. And this is also so important. Yoga philosophy, you do the best you can with what you have available. And then there's a surrendering it aside, a letting go or practice of acceptance. So we could practice this with our yoga poses. And when you're done with that effort, feel the shift from holding an effort to letting go of effort. How your breath responds. Maybe sensation in your body or your heart rate. Take your time to come on up to tabletop pose, hands and knees. You could have your hands about shoulder width apart, under your shoulders or slightly in front of your shoulders. So even here we could practice grounding. Press into the mat where you're making contact. Lengthen through your spine. With a quality of length to your spine, exhale, round into cat pose. Fill into your low back. Inhale, take your sternum, your chest forward and up. Cow pose. Exhale, round your spine into cat. Inhale, opposite action into cow. Could you keep a quality of length to your whole spine as you go through this movement? We're trying to have some action and resistance, some tone. And you might notice now you're working with this same kind of core concept. On your exhale, front lower ribs, hip crest bones draw towards each other and up toward your spine. As you inhale, those points move away from each other. I like hearing the train in the background. Could you initiate more from your center and again allow your head, your neck to move more by association? Really nice job. Come back to tabletop pose. Lengthen through your spine, tuck your toes. Draw your hip crest bones, front lower ribs just slightly towards each other and see if it feels all right to hover your knees about an inch or so off the mat. Exhales will help you to inhale. And you could take your hips up and back, downward facing dog. First down dog of this practice. If you like, explore with some movement. You're welcome to stay steady, or you could bend one knee at a time or both. What's grounding like now? What's your exhale like in downward dog? Touch down with your knees, tabletop pose. So here, this is working with the relationship of your core and now also bringing hamstrings and glutes in the back into the mix here. So ground down firmly into your mat with your hands. Lengthen through your spine and see if you have again a sense of rib cage, pelvic bowl, core in between. Without leaning or collapsing, could you reach your right arm straight out in front of you? And without leaning or collapsing, extend your left leg straight back behind. You could have your toes on the floor at first. Press your toes down, your left toes down. See if you get a little lift in your belly. Your hip crest bones draw towards your belly. Could you keep that stable as you now slowly lift your left foot away from the floor? It might not go that high. Let's try the other side. Ground down firmly. Reach your left arm out in front of you. Your palm will face the midline. Slide your right leg straight back. And that's a closed kinetic chain to start. So press your right toes down a little bit as you draw your hip crest bones towards your belly. Could you keep that quality of steadiness as you slowly lift your right foot away from the floor? And you might feel core and hamstrings having to work together to keep you stable. When you're ready, release, and you'll move in your own timing. When you come back down to the floor, follow your breathing. Inhale. Left arm sweeps forward, right leg back. Exhale, back to table. Inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, back to table. Could your focus be more on steadfastness rather than how far your limbs are moving? Could you keep a quality of steadfastness through your midline? So you could almost balance a teacup on the back of your pelvic bowl. That requires quite a bit of core integrity and strength, but also, again, your awareness. Really nice job. When you're done with that, have a rest. You could press back to child's pose, whatever version of child's pose feels the most comfortable for you. And take a moment to tune into the echo after bird dog Is there a sensation? What's your breath like? Remember your intention, even just to remember that intention. What do you intentionally want to practice? Just to remember is a success. And you could take a big breath into the back of your body. Come back up to tabletop pose. Create a stable table. So as you press down into the floor, you might feel your upper back lift a little bit. Notice where is that steadiness through your midline. Tuck your toes and hover your knees about an inch or so off the mat. Exhales will help you to inhale. Keep your knees bent as you now take your hips up and back to downward facing dog pose. And with your knees bent generously, if it helps, take your feet a little wider apart. Bend your knees a lot. Take your hips way back to lengthen your spine and your torso. And for an active stretch, how far could you lengthen your legs without diminishing the length you created in your spine? Yeah, really nice. That's wonderful. 1 or 2 full breath cycles here. And you could step forward, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Press down through your feet. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward towards the front of your mat. Exhale completely to bow. Inhale, lengthen your torso forward. 1 more bow, all the way to the end. Press down, inhale, come all the way up. You could reach up and lean back a bit if you like. And Tadasana, mountain pose. Just take a moment to feel the echo now, how your body's responding after the effort you put in.
Coming up to standing, let's start with some easy suns. So this is a more of an all levels practice, more on the gentle side. But if you want to make this a more challenging advanced practice, that would mean that you stay in your body with a quiet mind the whole time. There's the advanced practice. Let's take a moment here to ground. Feel your feet on the floor, all 10 toes. And then shift ever so slightly into your heels. Maybe just 1/10 of an inch backwards into your heels. And maybe forward a little bit. See if you can just center right over the arch of your feet, the medial arch, that inner arch there. And feel your toes stretching forward nice and long and your heels reaching back. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, lift your gaze. Exhale, press down into your feet, hinging forward at the hips, forward fold. Keep all 10 fingers on the ground. Maybe you bend your knees here. Inhale, look forward, gorilla pose. And exhale, release all the way. Keep your eyes open. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Lifting the gaze, look up between your hands. And exhale, arms by your side. Let's do that again. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Lift the gaze. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your eyes open. Let the eyes follow the movement of your head as you come back to gorilla pose. Really great for vagal tone. Exhale completely. Full commitment, exhale. Press down into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Press down into your left foot. Inhale up and exhale over to your right. Come back to center. Take hold of the opposite wrist. Press down into the right leg, side bend over to your left. Inhale back to center. Looking straight ahead, clasp your hands, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Let your lower ribs relax. Press the palms towards the ceiling, touch your thumbs together. Pull your thumbs towards the floor as you press your palms towards the ceiling. 2 things at once. Palms pressing towards the ceiling, thumbs reaching towards the floor. Full exhale. And release your arms by your side. We're going to add on to this movement here. So if you have a couple blocks, that'd be really handy. We're moving into what's called a projected lunge. So Benjamin and Jennifer will be demonstrating that for you. I'll start you off. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Take hold of your blocks. Put them underneath your shoulders. You're going to take a fairly big step back with your right foot. Land on the ball of your foot. Bring those blocks with you so they're now under your shoulders. And Jennifer talked about progression, so here they come. First, find that nice long line from your ear to your shoulder to your hip. Now you have the option, you can come onto your fingertips using external support still, forearms resting on your front thigh, or if you'd like, you can switch to internal support. Notice this nice long line. We're not in a low lunge, we're not in a high lunge, we're in projected lunge. Feel how your midline supports you here. So here's another cue for you to find that midline support. Press your left shin forward, and as you press your left shin forward, draw back through your left sitting bone. Yes, and you can feel that. It's almost like an Uttanasana effect here. So again, press your left shin forward, draw back through the left sitting bone. So you can imagine those blocks there helping you. On your next exhale, step forward, come back to your forward fold. Press down into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Take your time, we're not in any hurry. Exhale completely. Moving to the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale completely, all the way down to forward fold. Back to gorilla pose. Keep your fingertips on the ground, maybe bend your knees, look forward, let the eyes stay open, release the crown of your head. Now step back with the opposite foot. So this time the left foot will step back, or the opposite foot. Once again, you get to choose your progressions. You can use external support, hands on the blocks. You can use internal support, hands to your heart. You can even extend your arms out in front of you and move your arms in different directions if you'd like, as Jennifer's demonstrating for you. Yes. Again, that cue of pressing the front shin forward, drawing back through that same sitting bone to find that midline support. Notice where the mind goes. Remember the advanced practice. And on your next exhale, bring your hands to your blocks. Spring off of that back foot to come forward, back to Uttanasana. This time, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana, hands just below the knees, lengthen through the spine, press through the crown of the head, and then let it all go back to Uttanasana. A little inversion for you, great for the lymphatic system. Press down into your feet, inhale, sweep the arms overhead, all the way up, look up between your hands, eyes open, and exhale, release your arms by your side. So now we're going to move into a pose called sumo. You've done this with me before. And I'm sure many of you have done this with myself or Jennifer. You're going to take a nice big wide stance. How wide, you ask? About as the length of your leg. Have your knees and toes point in the same direction as you flex ankles, knees, and hips. So we're in a sumo position. Yeah, there we go. And if you want to add a little extra to this, barely lift your heels enough to slide a sheet of paper under there. That's all. You can still feel the contact of your skin on the floor. And on your inhale, straighten and come up. That's all you do. Exhale, bend your knees, maybe keeping those heels lifted. And as Jennifer's demonstrating, you can have your hands in front of you, or you can keep your hands on your hips for balance. Keep going, and I want you to notice how your sitting bones are moving here. So this is a wonderful pose because not only is it great for your pelvic floor, but that flexion, that movement of the ankles is great for your lymph system as well. Keep going. Press the shins forward to really get that flexion into your ankles. And then the next time you come into that bent knee position, we're going to stay right there. So you have this option to pick up your left heel just an inch, not very high at all, and very slowly lower it to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Landing. Pick up the opposite heel, barely lift it, and slowly lower to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last one, thank goodness, pick up both heels just an inch and fluidly, like water flows, lower your heels. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press down on your feet to rise up. Turn your toes in and step your feet together. So the next pose that we're going to practice is called Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. So go ahead and step so that you are, let's step nice and wide, yeah. I'm going to guide you through this. I'm not sure if I'll stay in the frame if I start moving around too much. So that nice wide stance, pick up your back heel and shift it back a little bit so that your I'll just do this with you. So that your back foot is at a diagonal, heel to heel alignment, hands on your hips. And we're going to move, bending your front knee, pressing the shin forward, and straightening. Hands can be on your hips or hands at your heart. If you want to add a little bit to this, pull that front heel towards the back heel as you bend and stretch. Keeping the hips level here. Next time you come into that bent knee position, sweep your arms out to the side, coming into Virabhadrasana Two, Warrior Two. Pick up that front heel just an inch and slowly lower it, pulling the heel towards your back foot. Bring your hands to your hips, straighten your front leg, turn your toes in, and we'll go the other direction. Pick up the opposite heel, coming into Virabhadrasana Two, and we'll start with that dynamic movement we just did, bending the front knee. Notice if you have a meandering knee, if it likes to lean in, then you might want to track it over that third toe. You can have your hands at your heart or on your hips, whatever you choose. Remember, you also have the option of barely lifting that front heel and pulling it towards the back heel. We're practicing action and resistance here by really pressing into the back foot, that lateral edge of your back foot. That's your resistance, and your action is that bending of the front knee. The next time you come into that bent knee position, stay right there. Sweep your arms up and come into Virabhadrasana Two, full expression of the pose. Again, let that back foot stabilize you by pressing into the lateral edge of your back foot. Relax your tailbone. Relax your thoughts. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten your front leg. Turn your toes in. Heel toe your feet together and step back to the top of your mat. So we're going to end up coming down onto our belly here. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Any way you like. If you want to step back and start from Chaturanga, I'd like you to come onto your belly. And this may be a pose that's new to some of you if you haven't practiced with us before, but it's called prone mountain. So what you're going to do is bring your hands back by your ribs, just like you were going to practice cobra. So you have bent elbows, forehead resting on the floor. But what I'd like you to do here is really relax your elbows away from your torso. Like that. Can you feel how your back body kind of relaxes? The scapula are in their sweet spot. In fact, this is for scapula stabilization. So we're looking to find that elegant posture while laying on our belly. So if I flipped you up, you'd have really great posture. So let's explore this pose a little bit longer. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Reach back through your tailbone. And then slowly lift your head up just maybe a quarter inch, not much at all. I'd like you to be able to stay here for the next 5 minutes. We won't be doing that, but ideally that's what we're looking for. Good. Reach back through those pinky toes. Soften between your shoulder blades. Soften your face. Soften everywhere you can. There you go. Complete exhale. And then release. Stack your hands. Rest your forehead on your stacked hands. Let this pose, Makrasana, be calming to your nervous system. Let it all go. Now bring your hands back by your side so that your arms are long, palms facing up. So you have long arms, palms facing up. We're going into Locust Pose. But let's start with just lifting the upper body, okay? So first, plant down into the tops of your feet, tops of your thighs. Find length through the crown of the head, back to the tailbone. Let your head come along for the ride as you inhale, lift. Press down into the tops of your feet. Leave the legs down. There you go. And find that complete exhale. Only go as high as you can breathe in a relaxed manner. Nice job keeping the back of the neck nice and long. And then lower down, let it go. Just let it dissolve. Feel the echo effect. This is a wonderful pose for, not only is it extension, it's a back bend, so it's got some really good qualities because it's a back bend, but it also is really great for strengthening those deeper muscles in your back. We're going to add the legs to get there. All right, inhale, come into your cobra pose, your locust pose. And now lift from your hamstrings to lift your legs. From your hamstrings, there you go. And then can you feel how those back muscles are engaging, supporting you? There you go. Try this. Bring one leg down and then switch. And once more. And switch. And lower down gently and rest back in your crocodile pose. Come back to your intention. Come back to why you practice. Know that we're all in this together, practicing, often sharing a very similar experience, even in our uniqueness. Please make your way onto your back any way you'd like, with your feet facing towards me. If you have a strap nearby, go ahead and take that and place it over the ball of your right foot. So I'm finishing up with two of my very favorite poses. This one is Big Toe Pose or Supta Pada Gustasana. Let's start this pose out a little differently. How about both legs straight on the floor, nice and long? There you go. Good. Strap over the ball of your foot. And then take your time lifting that leg ever so slowly so that you can stop before your knee bends. So you're practicing discernment here. Very nice. Walk your hands up the strap so both arms are nice and long, and then slightly bend the elbows away from each other, setting the head of your arm bone into the shoulder socket here, releasing some of the tension in your wrists. Good. So how often do you need this shape in ordinary daily living? Not too often, right? So what's the benefit here? Well, the benefit really isn't how high your leg can get, but can we make this an active stretch, getting more bang for your buck? So what we're going to do here is press into the strap with the ball of the foot, and at the same time, press the heel forward. Yeah, like that. More bang for your buck. If you'd like to explore lifting your leg higher, feel free to do that. But we're really interested in this active stretch. Soften your face. Try to broaden across the top of your foot. Broadening across the top of the foot, where that transverse arch is, as if someone was giving a nice little massage across the top of your foot. And then let the strap just glide through your hands as you lengthen and lower that leg all the way down to the floor. Just let it go. Let go of the strap and let go of the pose, and feel the right side of your body. Then slip your left foot in and your right foot out. Same pose, just different side. So once again, we're looking to find that place before the knee starts to lock and before the knee starts to bend. When you get there, walk your hands up the strap and begin your active stretch by pressing into the strap with the ball of your foot and pressing your heel forward. We're going to slide the strap up here for you. I'm going to slide it a little bit down. There you go. Going to have some slack here. There you go. So pressing into the strap and pressing the heel forward. Yes, there you go. If you want to move in any other direction, if you want to lift the leg higher, feel free to do so. And then lengthen and lower that leg all the way down to the floor. Let go of your strap, release the pose, and feel left side body. So this next pose is probably my all-time favorite. If you happen to do any activities in your daily life where your hands are forward, maybe some texting, keyboarding, driving, dishwashing, this is a really great way to release the tension that can often occur in the pectoralis muscles. Bend your knees and roll to your side. Come onto your right side here, so you'll both be on the same side. Draw your knees towards your belly, and I ask you to draw your knees to your belly to keep that twist into the thoracic spine, not the lumbar spine. Extend your arms nice and long, stacking your hands. Notice how your left hip is on top of your right hip. Keep it there. Inhale, sweep your left arm up in the air. Relax your shoulder a little bit, and then roll all the way open, extending the arms out nice and wide. You're in this big wide T. Let your cervical spine, your neck, be a continuation of the rest of your spine. You're going to be fine, Benjamin. You won't hit Jennifer if you extend open nice and wide. There you go. All right, here, think about where the eye of your elbow is. The eye of your elbow, and you have your thumb pointed. Turn from the eye of the elbow, right here. Yep, and just do a little turn and try to explore. Can you get a little tug, pull, or release into pec major? So it's a very, very subtle movement, and you can kind of explore how that feels. And this is one of those poses that it takes some time. Some people, this is really a lot for them, so maybe sweeping the arm overhead might feel good, or even just bending the elbow and straightening the arm might be recommended. So you have to make the pose work for you. So we really want to get to Pec Minor. So how do we do that? Turn the arm so the thumb points towards the ceiling. Slide your arm about 20 degrees towards your head. Yeah, and you can straighten this arm now. And then once again, turn from the eye of the elbow so that the eye of the elbow faces the same direction as your thumb. And explore how high you want that arm up. Can you get that little tug or pull or release into Pec Minor? And then slide your arm down and around to make your way onto the other side. So that's a pose that I often will stay in a little bit longer, but you can explore that later on your own. Roll onto your back and then all the way onto the other side so we can explore pec release on the right arm. Bringing the knees to the belly, stacking the hands. Inhale, sweep your right arm up in the air. Open all the way up. Nice big T shape, fingertips reaching away from each other, and explore the right arm now. It's just barely moving from the eye of the elbow to get that little pull or tug. And again, you can bend and straighten your arm. You can explore turning it more, but where do you feel like you're getting a release in the chest? And then moving on to release Pec Minor, turn your arm so your thumb points towards the ceiling. Slide your arm about 20 degrees towards your head. And then awareness of where the eye of the elbow is now, and the thumb. Turn from the eye of the elbow, not so much the hand, but the eye of the elbow. A little fascial tug there, releasing into the Pec Minor. And maybe it feels a lot different on this side. Maybe it's tighter, maybe it's less tight. Oftentimes, the two sides are not the same. I'm always surprised that it's my non-dominant side that seems tighter. Trace your exhale to its very end. And release out of the pose. Make yourself comfortable. Maybe there's a last movement you'd like to make before you settle into Shavasana. So whatever makes the most sense for you. You want to do a little child's pose or upside down child's pose, happy baby, whatever feels good, so that you can stretch out. We'll just do a short Shavasana here for purposes of recording. After the recording, you can come back and do a longer Shavasana if you want. Maybe put your legs up the wall for Viparita Karani. take a deeper breath and let it go. Trace your exhale to the very end. Take your time, bend your knees, roll to your side, and rest there. Please make your way up to a seated position. So as we end, I'd like you to join me in this loving kindness meditation. Bring your hands over your heart and repeat the phrases after me if you'd like. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. Jennifer and I really appreciate you being with us here today. And a couple little reminders. One is Common Bond has been amazing. Benjamin in his studio, offering to record teachers and providing them with the content and being extremely generous. As you know, yoga teachers, yoga studios are not able to offer their services in the normal way that we typically do. And so on behalf of those yoga teachers, we're asking you, if you can make any kind of donation to your yoga teachers, they would so appreciate it. And I know it'll come back to you tenfold. So some of the things you could do if you can't make a donation, take the class, record yourself taking the class, take a picture, post it on Instagram, share it on your Facebook, visit our websites. Mine is mindfulwellness.org and Jennifer's is Jennifer
Jamieson Yoga. It's just like my Facebook.
Okay. We're very humbly asking for your support with anything you can do. It's hard. Yoga teachers, that's not our thing, is asking for this kind of stuff. But if you can share in any way, thank you. And lastly, come on, you guys. We'll maintain social distancing, but we just want to remind you that we are a community and we are going to get through this together. And showing up and taking these classes together, you're not alone when you're on the mat. And do you want to say one last thing, Jennifer?
Yeah, I just had a little emotional wave with that because it comes through this time. It's just, we're all in this time of uncertainty. So, and our physiology is responding. And so anything we can do to help be grounded. And an important part of this, and this is ancient yoga practice, is human connection too. And even, we keep calling it social distancing, but it's kind of physical distancing as to not put each other at risk. But I think we could still emotionally be there for each other. And for the first time in my life, I may be really appreciating technology because it's not my strong suit, but it's a way that we could stay connected. So thank you for reaching out. If you need help or support, reach out. And thank you, everybody, for your support.